How's it going, David from Comic Book Investments? So this is kind of like a horror story of, I guess, dealing in comic books, so to speak. So someone reached out to me through email and said, I have this collection of comic books I want to sell to you. And I was like, okay, sure. What do you got? They had distribution boxes of comic books. If you don't know what a distribution box is, basically if you work at a comic shop and you want to get, whatever the latest Spider-Man comic book, they'll send you a box of comics if you order a full box. And this would be a distribution box. Now, some comic shops order less than that, but if you order a full box, each box this person had contained anywhere from 180 to 220 comics of the exact same title over and over and over and over and over again. And these were all variant covers from 2023, and they're all Marvel. So this is all just distribution box. It was this pallets full of these boxes, all different. It wasn't just one. So each box was its own comic book, and they only had one box of each. So technically, they had like this Mary Jane and Black Cat #2 Scott Campbell variant from 2023, and they had a whole box of that. So they didn't have multiple boxes of the same one, so all different. And I think it was like 14,000 comic books, just pallets of these distribution boxes. And so they came to me hoping that either I could find someone or I would want to buy it myself because they're having a tough time trying to find someone that would buy this. Now, I don't know how they came in this collection. Usually the way it works is if you're a comic book shop and you order the new so-and-so comic book, it's usually about 50, anywhere from 40 to 60%, about 50% off cover price. So if Marvel is selling a comic book for $3.99 for $4, the comic shop is getting it for roughly around $2. Then they turn around and sell it to their customers for $4. And then the ones that they have left over, they'll stick in the dollar bin and people rifle through them and hopefully they get them. I've heard also a lot of comic book shops say that even if they can't get through after the dollar bin after so long, then they usually go to dealers and like, here, 10 cents on the dollar for all this type of stuff. I just need to flush it out. And then those dealers take it to conventions or whatnot. So this person had all these distribution boxes. Now, I don't know what this person's plan was. I don't know if they bought it and they thought, look, I'm going to buy like a whole box of this and eventually it's going to go up in value. And these comic books that would sell for $3, $4 are now going to be selling for $5 to $10. And so, boom, I made all this money. Or I don't know if this person got them from a distributor who just had leftover supply. But in any case, they're trying to sell them. So there's 14,000 comics. And I was like, okay, I don't really want them. I don't really deal in this stuff. And it's just pallets of comic books of the same one. And it's like, how do you get rid of those? So I was like, okay, what do you want for them? He wanted 25 cents per comic book. That's right, 25 cents. Think about that. For 14,000 comic books, these are all variants. Now, a lot of them are all the same, so you get a whole box of the same, but they're all Marvels, all just whatever variant came out pretty much that year. Just you have Brooks variants, you have Scott Campbell variants, just you name it. They have a Perez variant, just a whole bunch of just different variant covers, all Marvel, good, what you consider like good books. And they wanted 25 cents. So that roughly came out to around 3,500, $4,000, I think is what they wanted for all of it. They even said they would pay for the shipping because I was like, well, I have to ship all those things. It's going to cost thousands of dollars to pallet this stuff over to me. They're like, well, we'll handle the shipping. And so I thought about it for a moment. I was like, I just can't. Like, this is not something I normally deal in. So I told him, I was like, you know what? Just because I want to, I'll try to reach out to people I know that'll be interested because in my eyes, it's a win-win. This person gets their collection sold, and then I reach out to other dealers, and then maybe they buy it. And so now, it helps out that dealer. It helps out this customer that wants to sell their collection, and this is a win-win. I didn't really expect anything from it. I was like, I'll just help you out. I'll reach out to some contacts. So I reached out to a few contacts who deal in this stuff. Like people, I was like, okay, people that have like subscription boxes, I reached out to them and I'm like, hey, do you want this? It'd be perfect to put in your box. They said no. and I was like, hey, 25 cents on a dollar. I reached out to other dealers that dealt in this kind of stuff and they all said no. The biggest offer I got was someone said they give 10 cents per book. 10 cents. So they said basically about $1,400 is what they'll give this person for that collection. That customer or that person ended up saying no and turning down the 10 cents offer. And they're like, oh, I'll try to find more people that would be interested. But I started thinking about it. And I was like, man, those books have like dropped so much in value. And the thing is, there's just not that much value in them to begin with. So I looked up a few of these books. So for example, one of them was like this Mary Jane and Black Cat Scott Campbell variant. You look on eBay, you can find one now for the cheapest for $1.99. So basically $2 and you have shipping costs. Okay, so this person will order it and get it for $2, this book. Even if they sold it for $2, eBay takes about 30 to 40 cents per transaction. Okay, so now you're really at like maybe $1.60. And then they take 15% roughly on top of that. Plus, if there's any like listing fees that you have, sometimes if you want it overseas, like international, there's like a listing fee for that. There's all these little fees, but let's just say it's at 15%. So you're losing 60 cents from, 30 cents from the whatever transaction fee, guaranteed 30, 45 cents, whatever it is. And then you're losing another, 30 cents for the 15%, because if you sell for $2, okay, so now you're out 60 cents roughly. So that $2 book is really $1.40. Now, hopefully your shipping costs, this person's selling for $3.99, hopefully that covers your packing material, the label, and all that. If it doesn't, you're screwed. Like imagine you buy a mailer. Like our mailers are about $1 something a piece, like $1.10, $1.08. So if you have to buy a mailer for $1 something, well, now you only have $1.40 of, if you get this book for $0, like 0 pennies. Now you're really into it for another $1 for the mailer. So now you're into like 40 cents, because $3.99 for shipping, that's what they're $5.99 for shipping. That's basically the label itself. So if there's any packing material or anything, and then you have the cost of you actually packing it up and doing it yourself, there's really no margin. That's if it sells for $2. I can look and see that none have sold in the last 3 months on eBay at all. Most of these variants sell for a couple bucks if they do sell at all. So let's say you make $1 profit on these books, $1 profit on average after all said and done, and you end up selling one every 3 months. You're making $4 total for a book you paid 25 cents for. So let's say you paid $1 and you made $4. Okay, that's 4 times your money, but you really only made $3. At that rate, if there's 200 a box, it's going to take you 50 years to sell all those. You'll be dead. You'll be dead before you sell them at that rate. Now, you can go on, like, say, someone like my website where you don't pay any fees at all. So let's say you make $2, but they're going to sell less. So it'll take you like 75 years to sell it all. It's just like the math never adds up. It just never adds up. So the only thing you could do is like bulk lot this out. And that's basically what this guy's doing. It's like, hey, can you just take this off my hands? But asking around to all these dealers, no one wants it, because they realize to get through this, it's going to take years, just years and years and years to get through all this stuff. So what this person is stuck with was just boxes of paper, because the biggest offer he got was 10 cents a book if you want to lot it out. And then that person would probably just put it in their subscription boxes or just hold on to it, sell them piece by piece. It's like, I tried to do the math myself and I couldn't even do it. I was like, it just doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, it's like, even if I get it cheap enough and I happen to sell, let's say this bulk amount and, sell them in lots of 10, or like put like, 100 of them together, all different kinds, and sell that out, for like $50 or something like that. It's like, I'll be doing that every single weekend, because I do weekly auctions, for years and years to come. It'll just, and then you have to house all this stuff. It's just not even worth it. That's the problem, is like, I guess this is like some things to think about, is like, if you're trying to get in that variant game or modern game, you just end up getting stuck with a bunch of stuff. Sure, maybe one catches off and maybe helps, but then you're just left with like pallets full of comic books that no one wants. There's nothing you can do with them. At this point, they're basically worth about as much as like burning them for like firewood and comfort, because there's this, you have to like, if this guy was willing to sell it to me for like 35, $4,000, and then to ship it to me was probably another 1,000 or so dollars. Just pallets of these boxes, there's tons and tons of boxes. I don't know, like, I don't know what they're into them for. I hope to God that they didn't buy, like, they're like a local comic shop that bought these for, half cover price. And now they're like, oh, this is leftover stock, I got to get rid of it. It's just, yeah, the biggest offer is 10 cents. And think about that. If the guy shipped it to that person, he would walk away with a couple $100 after shipping costs, if that, maybe even lose money, maybe just give it to him free. So at that point, it's like, yeah, might as well throw them away. They're not really worth anything at this point. They're just kind of, and they had to put in I think a storage locker. So now you're paying for a storage locker to have all this stuff. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's just like, this is a tale I'm telling you to just, if you're someone out there that's looking to get in this game, you have to be good at math and run these numbers and realize that all these things don't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's so much easier just to buy like one book that's like worth it and maybe make like $10 profit than it is to sell 1,000 of these books and make like barely anything and take years of your life, and you have to package up each and individual one. It's just not even worth it. So I don't know, take away what you want to take away from this, but yeah, it's just crazy. It's like when I reached out to the other dealers that no one wanted it. No one. They're like, nah. Like one person was like, yeah, if I get it for basically free. So yeah, that's kind of a horror story. Have a good day.